Hi everybody, this is Angelo Quinones and you reach I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible, Habiblos, okay? So that's just a deal. Now, we're going to be reading from Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 18. And we're going to really concentrate on verse 17 because we already touched upon the other verses, 15, 16, and 18, because 18 really explains what 15, at least half of it, what the half of the verse means, okay? Along with Genesis chapter 41, verses 51 and 52, and Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 9, explains it also in a secondary sense. Okay, in a second, we already went through that. Now let's pray before we study the Bible. Holy and merciful God, we come to you as your dear children, who Jesus has bought and paid for by his precious blood and resurrection from the dead. So you promised to hear us through him, and because he is the way to you, and we just come to you asking you for the forgiveness of our sins, asking you, most importantly than that, that your name be glorified and your kingdom come, and that you forgive us of our sins, and that we forgive those who trespass against us. So we just come to you agreeing to these sins, that they're against your holy word, and we just pray that you may wash these sins away from us during the time of this Bible study, so we may be well pleasing in thy sight, and that you can bless this Bible study in richness and in fullness and boldness and in power and in accuracy, Lord, please. So we just, as your dear people, come thanking you for every spiritual and physical thing. I just pray this you multiply this study among the other studies on this channel and the other two channels, Lord. I don't know how you're going to use them in the future, but I know it's going to be in a great way that I don't know now. But I know you promised to bless your word, and it's not going to return to you void. I pray all these things, and for the protection of your church and your elect people. Bring peace to Israel. Come soon, Lord Jesus. And I pray all these things in the matchless name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. So, guys, this is the coup de grace. This is the key. Now, we went through this. Basically, we went through it, but we didn't really land on. It's like an airplane. You know what I'm saying? We went to a couple of airports here and there, but we didn't really land on the airport of verse 17. And so let's just read this in its entirety. Let's get to it here. And this is the NASB. I'm going to read the NIV as well. And in my next study, I'm going to open up the NET. I'm going to take a picture of it because it's so hard to open, though, that app while I'm studying, the scriptures. Sort of in a, not live, but in a sort of, as I'm recording. It's really, really, really bad. I have to get another NET app. NET, incidentally, is really respected by Greek scholars and NIV and NASB also, but the NET has a soft spot in the heart of people like Dan Wallace. Now, let me read all these verses, okay, and then we're going to comment upon them, and then we're going to land upon, okay, and it's what I'm saying, verse 17. Now, this has to do with the full Greek construction of how to deal with so-called Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, so if you want to know how to deal with this a little bit more perfectly than Walter Martin laid out, okay, I suggest that you stay tuned to study now. He wasn't wrong. We went through that in our study. He wasn't wrong. But that's a secondary answer to the firstborn issue. Okay? Verse 18, right here in this chapter, actually explains it more perfectly than that. And then we could use something like Walter Martin's comment upon verse 15. Then we can use, after using verse 18, then we can use verses like Genesis chapter 41, verses 51 and 52, and Jeremiah 31, verse 9. You understand what I mean? Right, so we're going to look at the Greek, and but that's going to be a little bit later. It says over here, quote, "He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation." Okay, first of all, it doesn't call him a creature here. It doesn't call him a creature. There's a Greek word here that strictly means creature or creation. It's not even poieo. Okay, poiesin. Remember that Greek word found and recorded in the Greek Septuagint of Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. How does it go? Enerche poiesin hate as tan uranan kai tein gain. You understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't even use the aorist tense there. It doesn't even use the Greek word. Forget about the aorist tense. Okay, it doesn't even use the Greek word poieo, which is an epsilon contract verb. It doesn't even use that word. It uses a very strict, straitjacketed sort of word for creation. Okay, even greater than poieo. Okay, you understand? All right. So let's read the next following verse. For by him all things, not all other things, all things were created, both in the heavens and on the earth. Okay, and on earth, visible and invisible. Okay, aratas and aratas. Okay, whether thrones, Greek word thronas, or dominions, or rulers, probably the Greek word arche there, okay, in the plural, or authorities, exousia, some form of that, and things, okay, just ta, and things, probably kai ta. We'll check it out. Let me see. Have been created, have been created through Greek word dia, through him. I'll to there, and let me see over here, and for him. Okay, through him and for him. You know what I'm saying? That's just there. Now, this is the verse that we didn't come to, but let me skip that and go to verse 18 since we already commented upon it. He is also head of the body, meaning the church, okay, the kirk. And he is the beginning, arche, okay, the firstborn from the dead, ton necron, in the genitive plural, the dead ones. From the dead, let me see, from the dead ones. So that he and himself will come to have first place in everything. You understand what I'm saying? In everything. So we saw together that in first place means what Walter Martin was saying. See, what Walter Martin was saying, it wasn't really wrong completely so. It wasn't wrong. It was just placed wrong. The emphasis was wrong. You understand what I mean? The first place comes after, okay, he was raised from the dead ones. So you have to emphasize that firstborn means firstborn from the dead. It doesn't mean primarily that he has the preemptive rights of sonship. That comes after the exclamation of being, lifted from Sheol, if you will, from among the dead ones. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Ton necron. Okay, he was raised from the dead is always in the plural, meaning dead. That's all dead ones, always in the plural. Never in the singular when it says raised from the dead. Never. Necron is always there. I'm not saying that he was raised and that's in the plural. No, that's in the passive, by the way. But raised from the dead specifically, that's always necron there. Always in the New Testament that I saw anyway. Okay, always necron, raised from the dead. I'm not saying just raised. Egero or whatever the case may be. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when it says dead. It means dead ones. Sheol again. Okay? The translators are correct when they say that translators are traitors. They're not Benedict Arnold. It's not like that. It's just that they cannot, they're unwilling traders, okay? Because they cannot put everything into the English that the Greek has. You either have to take some emphasis away, or you have to add a little bit emphasis or punch or whatever the case may be to sort of complete the meaning. Like, for example, in the participle, you use the word continuous. This is awkward translation, but you're going to have to use that sometimes to bring out the full color, okay, of the Greek. You understand what I'm saying? Now, we saw that the Jehovah's Witnesses tampered with verses 16 and 17 by adding the English word other in their Bible. Okay, the even New World Translation of 1950 has the Greek word other 4 times, twice in each verse, twice in verse 16 and twice in verse 17. They also come with a bad interpretation of image. They say that he's a sort of copy. That's not the Greek word there. Greek word there is icon. I mean, if you want to say icon or icon or go, it doesn't really change anything. It's not like saying it's not changing something into a subjunctive or something like that. If you say a to o, or like a genitive plural from tantheon to theon, which is not in the New Testament anyway. So you're not going to make that mistake. And also it comes after John 1b. It comes after what is the preposition there? Pros. So it's not gonna be a genitive over there anyway. But still, you're not gonna make a mistake by saying icon. Who cares? You know what I mean? I say icon because it sounds like icon for the English a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't icon. It kind of sounds a little strange. Now, so they give you a wrong interpretation of icon there, a Greek word icon. You know what I mean? Same Greek word found and recorded in the Greek Septuagint. Let's look at it though. Okay, the Greek Septuagint. We need to look at that. So we're gonna touch upon verse 17 in a few minutes, but let's go to the Greek Septuagint, a copy of it anyway. All right, and I have it right over here, I believe. And let's read verse 26. Okay, and that's just the deal. Now that's Genesis. Okay. Genesis 38 there, and I had that specifically because I was talking about something, okay, very specific in that chapter. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? And that's just a deal. Now, let's go to verse, okay. And actually, it was the issue of contraceptives that I don't believe in it because of what happened, okay, according to verse 9 and 10 of that chapter. Okay, that's just a deal. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about marriage and contraceptives and stuff like that. We're talking about this issue. I don't want to get into that. It says over here, Kai Apen Amer, probably Wa Amer, probably in Hebrew, Elohim. But yeah. But in the Greek Septuagint it says Kai Apen Ha Theas. Poiesomen. Let us make. Okay, poiesomen. Let us make anthropan. Okay, that's an accusative singular. Anthropan. Kat according econa, or ekana, our image. And after, okay, he meteran, okay, kai akath amoy osin. Okay, and and rule and all this other stuff of says over here, archetosan, and that's just a deal. Now, but the Greek word icon is here. Okay, epsilon iota with a sub-reading marker, kappa, omicron, nowadays called omicron, nu nowadays called ni, and alpha. And that's just the deal with an acute marker over over the omicron there. So ekana. God said again, kai apen hatheas poiesomen anthropan kat ekana. Now, You don't see this anywhere for somebody in the Trinity. Okay, it wouldn't even be the Trinity at the time if that scenario is correct, which is not. You'll be, at least two of the members of the Trinity around, and then they decided to make logos. You know what I'm saying? Let us make logos in our image. Okay, that's the same answer you can give. Meaning you don't see that in the Bible. You don't see like this on construction like this. Why does this keeps on popping up? Okay. Oh, this is I don't know why it's like that. I didn't tap it 3 times. It doesn't say something like this. Kai apen hatheas. Boy eso man, that's gonna remain. Boy eso man, that's a subjunctive exhortation. That's a subjunctive there. It has to do with an exhortation. The omega is pointing out the subjunctive there. The mu, the probability or possibility. The sigma is pointing out the aorist construction here, just like in Mark chapter 9, verse 5. Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, Peter said to Jesus. It's the same Greek word. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? In verse 5 of chapter 9. All right. Godfrey, I'm studying the Bible, so quiet. Okay, get your water, and that's it. Okay, my love, all right? Okay, that's my stepson. He's 10 years old. All right, so Kai apen ha theas poieso man. What are you looking for, Godfrey, anyway? What do you want now? Ah? Come over here. I can't hear you. Nah, not coffee now. No. What? Okay. No, cause that's for the morning. Come on, you're gonna deplete my supplies. I'm gonna have to call the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria when Godfrey gets through with my supplies. That's what I'm saying. I have to call the army to get me more coffee. Goodness gracious. All right, now too big is water in Filipino. Kai apen ha and lock the door for me, Godfrey, please. Lock it when you leave. Okay, sweetheart? And be a good boy. Don't get into trouble, okay? Ah? Okay. Lock the door. That's a good boy. Let me hear it. Okay. I mean, just... It says over here, Kai Apen, I have a child and a daughter of my own, but he's my stepson. I love Godfrey. He's a cute kid, even at the age of 10. Kai Apen hateas poiesomen. And the men has to do with the plural ending there. Men. You see that men there, that mu, epsilon, nu? That's the plural personal ending from the primary active personal ending, master personal ending chart. Okay, that's the top left-hand box. Okay, so the top left-hand box, you have the primary active personal endings. Nothing, iota, sigma, mente, unsi, with a noon and like that, And some people teach it sort of the other way, o, ace, a, amen, eta, usi. And then the second box underneath that, okay, to the left-hand side, left-hand corner, bottom corner, has to do with the secondary passive personal endings. My, side, tie, and all that other stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Meta, ste, untie. And then the other boxes, the upper right hand corner box and bottom right corner box has to do with secondary, primary, secondary active personal endings, and then the bottom one has to do with secondary passive personal endings. You understand what I'm saying? Like ta and stuff like that in the third person. I believe, right? All right, now listen. So the men is plural. It's in the first person plural over here. Personal ending is the first person plural personal ending men. That's where you get the us from. Now in Hebrew, you get the us from naaseh. Naaseh means let us make. From asa, which means to make. Mim menu, okay, has to do with us also. Man has become like one of us. The nu has to do with the us. Nu mean nu, just nu. Okay, nu. It sounds like the Greek letter, right? Nu means us in Hebrew. So mim menu means man has become like one of us. Nereda means let us go down. Nereda. I used to pronounce it like nerda, but I think it's really like nereda. You know, the Hebrew nereda. Something like that to that nature. I have to look at the accent marker again. You know, I haven't seen it all the time. And then you have lanu. Okay, and that was in Genesis. That was from Genesis chapter 11, verse 7. And then you have lanu, which means okay, for us. Who will go for us is lanu is for us. You understand? That's very easy. Lanu. So you got nu in verse 8 of chapter 6 of Isaiah, and then you have nu in verse 22 of chapter 3 of Genesis. You understand? So that's just and so that's just a deal. Now this is the deal. So the deal is kai apen or wa amer in Hebrew, wa amer Elohim, or whatever the case may be. Kai apen as, okay, and said, okay, God, brother. Let me see. What did I do? I pressed something over there. Okay, so I have to press this 2 times at 1, 2, I think, right? And then it's all the way to, to verse 1. So that's just it here. And I apologize because I'm slow, because I'm legally blind, actually. I'm fortunate even to read Greek. Okay? The constructions and all that jazz. You understand what I mean? Okay, so that's just it right here. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay? But you have to have the attitude that I want to learn. I want to learn the Greek for myself. I want to read the Greek, Old Testament, New Testament, and Hebrew, New Testament, and Old Testament, okay, by myself. Okay, now, kai epen ha feas poiesomen. Poiesomen, and then the eta lengthen, the epsilon lengthen to an eta before the transformative. That's a transformative sigma, showcasing the aorist tense, a completed action. Or not a completed action, but this not really completed action. But this is the mood of this is not the indicative. This is the mood of probability or possibility. This is subjunctive though. Okay, but it is an aorist subjunctive though. And an omega is the true subjunctive morpheme, and then the personal ending men, like I said before. You understand what I'm saying? Poieso meant from poieo, epsilon contract verb. You understand? Now, so they were made. Okay, we were made in God's image and likeness, and there's only one image and likeness, though. And this is the key. This is the key that I was going to speak on. 2 points. Number 1, Jesus can't be a creature because this construction is not found and recorded for Jesus anywhere in the 2 testaments. Number 2. It says over here that there's only one image of the Trinity. Now, it doesn't say Trinity, but if you hit upon chapter, if you read chapter 18, I'm forgetting my English here in the Philippines. It's horrible, guys. This is a disgrace. But it happens. It happens. When you go to Genesis chapter 18, okay, you're going to see the word 3, shaloshed, there. And that's where you really start to see 3. Okay, that the Trinity is 3. Now, that chapter either was the Trinity himself, or it's hard to say, the Trinity himself, the Trinity themselves. One God, but 3 persons, so it's kind of hard to explain. But you see the Trinity, forget the adjectival intensive. The Trinity, you see the Trinity, you either see the Trinity visiting Abraham, or the 3 persons are human beings, and it's an example of the Trinity. We can't be so dogmatic because we don't know 100%. Now, it's about like 90% that it was the Trinity, because one Lord went to heaven and 2 lords stayed, okay, upon earth. Okay, them 3 being 1 Lord, according to the great Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Elohinu, Yahweh Echad. The adjective comes always after the noun. You understand what I'm saying? Echad, 1. Okay, that's the Shema in Hebrew. Shema means to listen, to obey, and all that other good stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Now, so there's only one image here. It's not, well, let us make a man according to our images and our likeness. No, no images and likeness. I already said, and I already read to you guys, the Revelation chapter, 6, verse 16, that they all have one prosopon, one face. One face. Some translation says person, another one, some other one says face, especially Greek interlinears. Face, one face. He is the image of the invisible God. He is the image, because he is of the essence or of the substance, as his Father. That's why when he said, "I and the Father are echad," that was enough for the Jewish people, the unbelieving Jewish people, to take up stones or lithos from lithos to actually cast at him and kill him if they would have had permission to do so, but they didn't, because the hour did not yet come. You understand what I'm saying? But he was one nature with the Father. You understand what I'm saying? He has en marfe teu huparchon, who being in very nature God, says the NIV. You understand what I'm saying? Marfe is found 3 times if you count, and you really can't. But if you count verse 12 of chapter 16 of Mark, but since you can't really count that, it's really found 2 times. And I say 3 because Mounce has it at 3. And actually he has a mistake in his Greek lexicon. He puts it in verse 14. It's actually in verse 12. That Marfe is found and recorded, whether you count it or not, in Mark chapter 16. Is in Mark 16:12, not Mark 16:14. It's a typo. That's a mistake. Now we all love Mouse. We all Mouse our Greek lives. Okay, when it comes to the basics of the stuff. Okay, I mean, he's a wonderful Bible teacher and a wonderful scholar and just a wonderful down-to-earth person. I never met him before, but he taught me so much when it comes to the basics. Okay. Now you got beyond the basics, the genitive of time and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be, But I mean, he really explains how to teach the stuff in a very easy, cogent way. You understand what I'm saying? I already mentioned Dan Wallace, and he wrote, Greek Beyond the Basics. So you have other books. I love the old book, Manual Grammar of the Greek New Testament by Dana Manti. It's just like punctiliar. And other things, has changed. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So that's just it. But we should celebrate Manti and Dana, because they were really the pioneers of really getting Greek straight in order. And also they paid homage to a lot of Greek scholars and manuals in their introduction. But they have a mistake in I think their first edition, or whatever the case may be. They have on page 20, they have diphthongs spelled differently. They have it with a P and with a PH. Okay, so that's just a deal. Now that I corrected some Greek scholars, let's get back to this. It's one image. One image. Not 2 images. You understand? This is crucial. Let us create man according to our image and our likeness. We're not the image of the invisible God. We're not. We've been created after his image. You understand what I'm saying? After the fact, if you will. You understand what I mean? After. Jesus never said protos mu anywhere in the Bible, according to him, in his, there I go again. In regards to him and his Father, he never said protos mu. What's protos mu? Well, that's around verse 16. Okay, you understand what I'm saying, of chapter 1 of John's Gospel. For he was before me, said John of Jesus. That Jesus was before him. He said protos mu. He never said protos mu. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? In regards of him and the Father. Never said that the Father was before him. So the image was not, hanging around and then Jesus' image came after. No, it's one image. One. And none came before or after the other. In our case, we were made in the image of God. Okay. Now check out the English. Let's go to the English here. Look at the word over here. Look at the wording. I think it has to do something with time. Let's go to Genesis, okay? Let's get out of Colossians and go to the Old Testament, you understand? And go to Bereshit, the book of Genesis in Hebrew. Bereshit 1, okay. 26. Let's check it out. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Okay? Look at that. Our image, our likeness. You understand what I'm saying? But that's not the same thing. It doesn't have to do with the same nature, meaning we're not part of the deity. Now, I hate to say part because, the Trinity are not parts of each other. They're not parts of God. You understand? They are one God. Echad. Or Hin. You understand what I'm saying? That's just the deal. Hen from haste. You understand? They're of the same essence. They're of the same substance. And that's what they ask in John 1:1c comes to the picture. Why it came into the picture. Okay. There I go again, I should walk around with a dictionary in the Philippines. I mean, goodness gracious. Because, you understand? Because ha lagos, or logos, and and ton theon, or ton theon, I hate that, but this is, the pronunciation, but still, it sounds like something else, like I said before. But if you read it, and archi no logos, ke logos, impros ton theon, ke theos no logos. I mean, that's how they, read it in modern Greek. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that has to do with distinction of persons. Those articles there. One is one is the subject nominative, and the other one is in the accusative case. Okay, tantheon. The two words are in the accusative. Okay, and the accusative doesn't mean that something has an article, like Mark from Missouri said, guys, please. Okay. The anartha state of theos is pointing out several things. First of all, there is a predicate nominative, because predicate nominative sometimes are anarthas, okay, right? And it's definite by nature, okay, there. The word order, said Manti, is very important there. The force is laid upon logos being, okay, divine with a capital D, okay, because of the word order. Theos comes first. Arche also is anarthros and yet is definite. In the beginning, the New World Translation has in their app. Okay, it's the Greek P. Understand? Don't give me this mumbo jumbo that, but it doesn't have an article, so it's definite. So why do you put, okay, the book, okay, in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 of the genealogy of Jesus? You say the book and Ha's not even there. Come on, man. Can't have your cake and eat it at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? As a JW, you can. All right, so one image, Then God said, and it was an exhortation, that's not an imperative. And even if it was an imperative, so what? There are imperatives in the Lord's Prayer, so we can, for us to use. But this is not an imperative, and if it was an imperative, so big deal. Don't you understand that Jesus used an imperative to get the glory from the Father, to get it back? It wasn't a nasty attitude or anything like that, but do you know that Jesus commands the Father? I'm just telling you. It's not in a nasty way. It's not in a cavalier way or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. Theologically speaking, I am, and linguistically, there's a imperative, That's an imperative move. And give me the glory, and give me the glory that I had with you before the foundation of the earth, of the world. Let me tell you something. That's an imperative. That's a command. There's a command by the Son to the Father to get the glory back. So even if this was, you understand what I'm saying, in the imperative mood, well, so what? But it's not. It's in a subjunctive mood, the mood of probability or possibility, and it has to do with an exhortation, not a command. So let's just forget about the one commanding the other. I'm just saying. Like, forget about that. They would have twisted it. Oh well, the Father, the Father, commands the Holy Spirit and Jesus to create. They're not really, equal to Him. They don't even believe in the Holy Spirit anyway. Really, Logos is not really equal to the Father because He commands, and no, He does not. It's an exhortation, not a command. There's no tote, whatever, anywhere here. You understand what I'm saying? No, there's not. No epsilon like that, or imperative morphemes. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Now we know that. Let's get to let's get to the NIV's version of Colossians. You understand? Let's read it. The Son is the image. Of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. The first one resurrected from the dead ones over all creation. That's what it means, according to verse 18. Including in the pool of the answer, the one that has the preempted rights of sonship over the creation. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the resurrection. There you go. It's just a more complete answer. More complete. You understand what I'm saying? The Old Testament is in the Old contained. The New Testament is in the New explained. The Old Testament is in the Old concealed. The New Testament is in the New revealed. That's a hermeneutical rule. And hermeneutics is in the Bible. It's in John's Gospel, chapter 1. So it's there. Exegesis is there also. See verse 18 of chapter 1 of John. And apologetics is in verse 15 of chapter 3 of 1 Peter. I mean, all across the board. That's why it's called the art and science of biblical interpretation, hermeneutics. You understand what I'm saying? Verse 16, for in Him, meaning in Jesus, all things, not all other things. You understand what I'm saying? Were created things in heaven, and that's in heaven. If that's in the singular, it's en urano with a neota subscript, making it a proper diphthong out of the omega there. And on earth, visible and invisible, arata and aratas, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, or other things. Does it say that in the text? Does it say it? Does it say it? So why do you teach it? You at the tower. You gotta stop playing with God. You gotta get out of the tower. God doesn't like some towers. The Tower of Babel, the Watchtower. He doesn't like towers. Let's talk about them anyway. You know what I mean? He doesn't like some of the towers that people erected here upon earth. You understand what I'm saying? He definitely doesn't like the Washington Monument. I'll tell you that right now. That's another issue. Sort of Mormon symbol. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it because I was around the place in 1983 or whatever. We went to Washington, D.C., going into the Capitol. I mean, that thing is tall like crazy and empty. Okay. See just the dome, the dome, upper dome area. You know what I'm saying? All right. So it says over here I think that was the Capitol anyway. I mean, It says over here, for in Him all things were created. For in Him. It says, for in Him all things were created. Things in heaven and on earth. Things in heaven like angelic beings, heaven itself, and all that other, and all those things. On earth, well, the earth, nature, the people upon the earth, visible and invisible. Whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things, not all other things, have been created through him and for him. Now, we're going to get to verse 17. Took us long enough. That's what I'm saying. He is the intermediate agent of creation, and we saw he did actually create, according to Jesus' Father, calling Jesus, Yahweh in verse 10, according to the Hebrew. The Tetragrammaton appears 9 times in that psalm, in Psalm 102. El appears once there, the singular for God, for the word God, El. It's not Elohim, there's El, you understand what I'm saying? So God the Father did call Jesus, Jehovah or Yahweh in verse 10, having called him already, that's a participle, having called him already, you understand what I'm saying? God with special definiteness. Not just definiteness like the witnesses want, but special definiteness. You understand what I'm saying? Special. Not special force. That's an omega and a couple other little tiny symbols. First Timothy 6:20, stuff like that. Matthew 15:28. Matthew gave an example of that. The inflectional particle, he used to call it. Now, all things, have been created, through him and for him. Now, verse 17, let's get at it. He, meaning Jesus, he is before all things. Now, they wanted to stick or other things, implying, he's not before the Father, so we can't say he's before, all things. Who says that God is a thing? He's a being. He's 3 persons, meaning the totality of God. Getting outside of that, why do you insert the word other there? You have to. You have to insert the word other there. Now, I already said, Vine's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words, and the same title really Mounts has for his lexicon. Vine's on page 451 has seven different Greek words for other. On page 451, alelon, loipos, heteros, heis, and I believe 3 other Greek words. Mounds has it at 5 different Greek words for other. 5. You understand what I'm saying? I counted them. 5. None of those words appear in the text of the scripture here, verse 17, and the one that came before, verse 16. No Greek word appears for other there in the 2 texts. So why did they insert it? They inserted it because they had to. They have to cover their behinds, what's his name? The one Setnar, Bill Setnar. He said that like by mistake, but I'm saying it. I'm saying that with gusto. Okay. He said, I think he meant they had to cover their past, not behinds, but they had to cover their derrieres, their rears. You understand what I'm saying? The buttocks, you know what I'm saying? Just to use a sort of a King James way of talking from Scotland. You understand? Scotland Yard. Okay. Already Scotland Yard, but anyway. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, right? It's not a genitive of relationship, man. They have to add the word son. Jesus to Mary, and they have to stick in the word son there. You understand what I'm saying? That's the King James Holy Curse. I'm losing my voice. You understand what I'm saying? It's not even 12 o'clock. The pumpkin, I mean, the carriage didn't turn to a pumpkin yet. I mean, goodness gracious. Already losing my voice. Ripplinger. She's waxing eloquent about people losing voices and people getting sick and stuff like that. And she was sick before when she was making the the New Age Bible versions book. She was sick in bed. That's why she had time to write it. It's kind of a little bit of hypocrisy, you know what I'm saying? With Ripplinger, you understand what I'm saying? She was a decorator. She was a designer. She wouldn't know the 24 article paradigm if it fell on her lap. If I gave her a dress, okay, with different combinations and stuff like that, she couldn't even pull out, 24 articles of the article paradigm in Greek. You understand what I'm saying? She wouldn't know what a subjunctive morpheme was if it was part of her dress. Eta and omega. You understand what I mean? I'm just saying. Nai, Sai, she wouldn't know what that meant. I mean, coming at the end of, sometimes can see and stuff like that, but whatever. At the end of words, making that an infinitive construction, a particular verb. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. I mean, you can't make it up. She went to this college. She has this degree. It wasn't designing. Come on, man. I mean, thank God that's over with. You know what I mean? In a sense, anyway. But the knuckleheads are still remaining, around. But King James only knuckleheads, though, man. All right, let's get to this. He is, before all things. Of course. Nobody's saying that he was before the Father, because the Father wasn't created. But nobody's saying, that the Father was before Jesus, because Jesus wasn't created. I already told you, what he said, in John the Baptist of Jesus, for he was before me, protos mu. Nowhere in the Bible does it say protos mu of Jesus and the Father, for he was before me. He doesn't say protos mu. I'm just saying. He doesn't say protos mu. That's found and recorded in verse 16, around verse 16 of chapter 1 of the Gospel of Ioannem. I'm just saying. For he was before me, meaning the Father. I said, Jesus, nowhere in the Bible does it say it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Where's protos mu on the lips of Jesus? Hey! Where is it? I'm just saying, where? Well, then don't put it there. Can't put other there 4 times in these texts. You can't. You're being dishonest with the text. You're being a fraud. The Watchtower is a fraudulent organization that got everything wrong. Nobody was going to go to the moon. And 3 people just came. Regular citizens like you and I. Like you and me. I'm forgetting my English, you understand? Regular citizens made a journey, into outer space, like a space sort of a tour or whatever. They weren't even astronauts until they got into space and they qualified for to be an astronaut. And so though they're in that pool of 600 people that went to space. 600 people went to space. You understand? Can't believe the tower. You can't. Magic wheat and corn. Come on, give me a break, man. It's just like Jack and the Beanstalk, man. Worldwide tour. It's like Gilligan's Island. You got all these fairy tales hanging around the tower. You understand what I'm saying? From Charles Taze Russell and Joseph Franklin Rutherford and Nathan the Hot Dog all the way through down the line. I was just all right. Says over here, he is before all things, ta panta, and in him. That's in the dative case. Probably out there. We're going to check out the Greek. All things, ta panta, again, hold together. Okay, through him. All things hold together. It doesn't say all things hold together, including himself. Is that what I mean? Oh, but it says that, and I live by the Father. Oh, well, give me a break, man. That's talking about his body, man. Talking about the blood flowing through his veins that was flowing through his veins at that time. You understand what I'm saying? And since he made all things, Tapanta, he made that body also himself. Okay. That's just the deal. He made the body was created of Jesus. The body. But him as Logos, I mean, he had no beginning. He had no beginning. And don't give me this hocus pocus, that you put over, Revelation chapter 3, verse 14. You understand what I'm saying? And he says, Hurula. He's the ruler of God's creation. Echoing what verse 18 says, that he might have first place over, every creature. You see how everything goes hand in hand. That's just the deal. Rula is in the semantic domain of arche. Don't say arche, that's cheap. That's cheap. Okay, cheap. Just like the seats you buy at the tower, you understand what I'm saying? And they're bucks, just cheap. Might as well be free, you understand what I'm saying? Just saying. I'm not being hard on the witnesses, but still. Listen, the witnesses will have you for lunch and spit you out with no problem at all, and laugh at you when Greg Stafford, beats somebody like James White. Oh, that's our champion, Greg Stafford. Yeah, really. Not even a Jehovah's Witness anymore, because Mark from Missouri, the one that I used to debate, and have thousands of recorded conversations with, for our emails and debates and stuff like that, voice texts and stuff like that. There's in the thousands, guys. I'm already an old guy. I'm 58. I started this YouTube thing, when I was in my 40s. Okay, you understand? Such a long time ago, like 10 years ago. I was, 48. Now I'm 58. I mean, goodness gracious. And the witnesses are still around. They're like cockroaches. You need like Black Flag or something like that to stop them out spiritually. You just set a couple of traps, those black plastic things, put them at the door or something like that when they come in. They get swallowed up by the truth. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a deal. Just saying, there are cockroaches all over. They're even here in the Philippines. I had to kick one out in my house in the Philippines over here. He was here with about 2 other people, and then he came over here so sexy and sassy, you understand what I'm saying? Talking and stuff. And then every time I wanted to talk, he said, no, wait, let me finish. Wait, this is my house. Okay, get out. That's all it is. I didn't even have to, shake the dust off my feet. I mean, it's my house. So I kicked them out. Not gonna let me talk? Okay, get out. Get out of my house. Okay. I'll do a little bit of Ralph Crandom on him. You're not gonna let me speak? Okay, can you please leave, please? I'm over here with my baby. I don't want to shout over you. She's a special child. Please leave. Please get out. Oh, you don't want to hear the truth? No, I've been hearing you. You don't want to hear me, so get out. Oh, that's just a deal. They're all over like cockroaches, guys, like flies, like mosquitoes. What's the deal? They're all over the place. I'm just saying. I mean, they're here. Goodness gracious. I mean, they're in the Philippines, 12,000 miles away, or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not a pilot, He is before all things. Let's look at the Greek. Let's look at the Greek first of all over here in the Byzantine text of and let's go according to the most ancient texts. You understand what I'm saying? This is Colossians. That's just the deal. This is chapter, verse 1, for Pete's sake. That's just it. It's getting dimmer and dimmer. I got to get this brighter and brighter. I mean, that's just that. I mean, and it's just already brighter and brighter. But if the light in you is darkness, how great is that darkness at the tower? You understand what I'm saying? That's just it. I don't know why this is like that, man. I mean, I don't know why it's so dim like that. I really apologize, guys. Now let me get back to Go to verse 17. That's verse 17 right there. Ooh yeah 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 yeah. Ooh la la. I'll tell you, man. I hope I'm still recording. It'll be absolutely ashamed. This is not recording, man. It'll be an absolute disgrace. You know what I mean? Let me see if it's recording because I mean that's you know. Yeah, and it is. Thank God, it's in the 50s, I think already. Sorry, guys. Okay, but let's see it anyway. It says over here. Okay, all right, and okay, he altas, not has this time. Kai altas, okay, he, a third person personal pronoun from the altas paradigm. Altas, altu, alto, altan, altoi, alton, altois, altus. Just a complete paradigm. At least some of the altases, you know. Okay. You know, you got se before that and all that other good stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And much more. Kai altas, sometimes. Kai altas este, not, it's a new movable estin. It has a new movable, okay? That's a new optional, I call it. Okay, so it doesn't have the new. It has the it's just only iota. I think the paradigm is Amy a estin. Esmin este like that, you know. At least the present form. It is a me verb actually. Kai altos este. I like estin better. Este pra. And the before is pra. Okay, that's before. You understand what I'm saying? Pra panton. Okay. Panton. All things. That's in the genitive. Panton. All things. Prop panton. And Greek word kai, all things, okay, ta panta, and that's in the neuter. You can tell by the article. There's a neuter plural though. Okay, ta is a neuter plural, alpha. Neuter singular will be omicron. You know, that's just a deal. Ta panta, and then in him, en auto. It only takes the date of that preposition. Hold together is, you see soon and together there, like synagogue or whatever the case may be. Sune steke. Sune steke. Sune steke. Hold together. Is that what I'm saying? Let me see, all things in him hold together. Now you see the English translation of "n" there. Okay, let's see how the NASB has it, or the NIV, because in the NASB, I think I put it to another verse. Okay, verse 17. He is before all things tapanta, and in him all things hold together. It doesn't even say by him, like that, like somebody else is holding it through him. Okay? And then he will be holding it also, because I already told you that, dia, it doesn't mean that, somebody's like Casper the Friendly Ghost and somebody shoots a paint cannon through him and paints the wall, and then Casper didn't have anything to do with the painting of the wall. It's not like that. I already told you that agenita is in the passive. Is not autu. Autu is in the genitive case. Okay? What's in the passive is the came into being, has to do with the creatures that came into being, and it's in the passive. Logos has nothing to do with the passive voice whatsoever, as far as being a creature is concerned. He is not a creature. And the passive construction da is there, and again it da. Okay, I already told you that's a secondary passive construction da in the third person, as a matter of fact, though. Okay. And what's in the passive is agenita, not autu. Autu is a noun, is in a genitive case. It has nothing to do with logos or logos at all. Nothing. As far as him being passive Okay, in the sense of the he, like in the sense, erroneously speaking, of him not doing anything. You cannot teach that Agenitas in the passive, so he didn't do anything at all. It doesn't go like that. I already told you that he's the intermediate agent of creation. I agree. I understand that. But he did create according to the Father, okay, what he said to his Son, and what we call Hebrews chapter 1, verse 10. Okay, what he called him Yahweh. And not only that, he said that the earth and the heavens are the works of his hand. Chenon, for hand. Hands. Is in the plural. Is that what I'm saying? All right. Now, so basically, tapanta is there. Now let's look at if this is in the in the most ancient authorities, though. Maybe the most ancient authorities has the Greek word other. It doesn't. But we have to check it out. Let's check it out. So let's go to Colossians. Okay, according to the most ancient text. That was according to the Byzantine text form. But let's go according to the most ancient authorities. Verse 16 says, Hati en auto. Okay, ektiste. That's the word that strictly means created. That's in the aorist tense. Aorist passive, by the way. See the aorist morphine there, sigma. You see the augment showcasing time in the aorist there, epsilon before the consonant there, kappa, which heads up the original word, and then you have the passive construction theta and eta there. Nowadays called theta and eta. You understand what I mean? Egatiste. As a matter of fact, this Greek word that begins with really kappa in the lexicon is not found and recorded in the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verse 36. You have to tell the witnesses that. Just because it says poieo there doesn't mean that he was created, because then you're saying that Jesus created himself. When you see that the Jews said something to Jesus in the way of telling telling him that you making yourself to be you make yourself to be as God. And that's found and recorded like around verse 27 or something like that of chapter 10 of John's Gospel. You know what I'm saying? So you're saying that Jesus made himself? That's poieo right there. He made himself? Made in the Bible, or poieo, doesn't mean strictly create. This means, okay, you can't say strictly to create, but it really has that meaning though. Existe. In him, okay, was created all things. Okay, tapanta, all things, not all other things. That's a plural article. Toys is in the plural. That's a data plural article. Okay, and toys uranois, and that'll be masculine. Okay, that'll be masculine. That's a masculine word, uranos. You understand what I'm saying? Because toys and toys appear for the neuter and the masculine plural. Okay, article. You understand what I'm saying? Just like don, tu and tu, do and do. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, of that stuff going on in the article paradigm. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of repetition. Tapanta entois uranois in the heavens, and kai epi upon the earth, and I believe that's a genitive of place there. Okay, arata, kai and arata is visible. There's no alpha there. That's visible. And okay, invisible. Arata. That's invisible because of the alpha. Ete thrones, and that's in the plural. No article there in masculine nominative plural because of the iota. Okay, a second declension word there. Trana or tranas, tranoi there. Ete kuri tetes. Ete erchai, and that's in the feminine plural. Okay, and I believe that's nominative. That's a nominative construction there. I. Where am I at? Erchai. From the Erche, Arche paradigm. Ete exousiai, authorities. And that's feminine also, authorities. Tapanta all things through the autu kai es autan. Created over here, let me see, a ekti stai were created. And that's an aorist tense. Verse 17. And this is our verse over here. And, okay, I don't see the word for other here. Kai autas, and he, okay, is Estin. It has the new here in the most ancient authorities of base app. Okay, before pra panton, all things. And all things tapanta in him and auto, okay, hold together. Sune steken. Okay? Sune steken. You understand what I mean? Let's look at that Greek word. Let's look at that Greek word there. Let's look at it. And I wanted to look at it because I was right in my mind. I didn't say it until I got there, but I knew it was a me verb because of the kappa. I was looking at it, and you know why I was kind of quiet? Because I was saying this has to be a me verb because it's showcasing the kappa is showcasing the aorist tense there, and it's usually sigma, you know. But in me verbs, the kappa is the aorist morpheme, or the aorist transformative. Is not sigma. Kappa is you still used for the perfect in me verbs. I understand that, but there's but that's out. There's no sigmas. There's not a sigma here. And I was just wondering. I said, I wonder if this word, okay, is a me verb, and it is. And so you have the kappa epsilon there, and that's in the third person. You're gonna see that in the third person, like. What's the word that I want to look at? That's a me verb. Edoken. Found and recorded in Revelation chapter 1 verse 1 by memory because he didn't show degnumi or dexai there that infinitive there dexai to show his servants. No, he didn't show his servants. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, he gave the revelation to Jesus. Okay, Edoken. And you see the ken there. And this is not really important, but the ke there is the aorist morpheme there in the third person that you should know about. It's the same construction found and recorded right over here. This is a me verb just like that one is in Revelation chapter 1 verse 1. But I was stopping myself because I was wondering there has to be a me verb. It has to be. It has to be. Because you see the kappa. Okay, you see the kappa. You see the kappa there. Sunistemi. You see the kappa there. And that's just the deal. But he holds the things together by his power. And if he lets go of anything and anyone, it crumbles apart. Case in point, the Challenger, that trouble with the O-rings, right? If Jesus desired for the Challenger to stay together, it would have stayed together. until this very day. But that the fire, seeped through one of the O-rings because of the temperature during the launch, and it just burned a hole right through the solid rocket booster. It was like a torch right through the external tank, the orange tank that the shuttle was on, and that's why it exploded because of the temperature. And they warned the people that were in charge of the launch not to launch the thing. They were very lucky in earlier missions that the same thing didn't happen, you know, because Jesus held it together. But if he just he takes his hand off any object or any person or anything, it falls apart. Don't put too much like, wow, what a building. Wow, what do you see these stones? Do you see these things? And he said the disciples to Jesus, and Jesus wasn't impressed because he holds all things together. He held the temple together and the temple buildings and the temple courts together with his own power. He lets his hand off. AD 70 happens. This Angelo Kyyky giving glory to the God of Israel. But before we go, let's see what we learned. We learned, right, that verse 17, okay, along with verse 16, doesn't have the Greek word for other there. We learned that Vines and Mouse's lexicons, okay, have several Greek words, okay, for other in their respective lexicons, 7 for Vines and 5 for Mouse, that mean other and none. And I mentioned some of them, and none appear in these texts, okay, of Scripture. None of them. None of them. We went to Genesis, chapter 1, verse 26, where it says that that God has one image. And so when it says that Jesus is the image of the invisible God, well, it's showcasing the nature of the Father, but it's also showcasing his nature also, meaning that they're one God. You understand what I'm saying? In Colossians chapter 2, it says that it says something like this. Okay, let me just not butcher the scriptures. Let me get it right. You understand? Okay, let me get it right over here. Record it. Okay, now let me get. That's okay. Let me go through the trouble. It's not really a lot of trouble. I mean, Jesus found a place and he was dealing with a scroll. That's trouble, guys. This is nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Poking the bear a couple of times in the eye. I mean, it's nothing. We complain about these apps. I was doing it the other day, and Jesus had to carry a big scroll, and during the reading of Isaiah in a synagogue when they wanted to kill him. After he said that God didn't heal anybody but a Gentile. That's what I'm saying. I did not come to bring peace upon the earth, but a sword, said Jesus. That's just a tale. Don't forget that. If you're dealing with trouble in your family, you understand what I'm saying? Like I am sometimes in the Philippines. Says over here in Colossians, I spoke to Bear chapter. No. Well, I could go back. I could go forward like this. Okay. Chapter, and could be our next study. Actually, you understand what I'm saying? See to it that no one takes you, captive. Takes you captive through, philosophy, love of wisdom, and, empty deception, according to the tradition of men, according, to the elements or elementary principles of the world. Okay? Of the world that says over here. Rather than according, probably kata is there, but we'll see, to Christ. Now verse 9. For in him all the fullness of deity, or the Godhead says the King James, dwells in bodily form. Somatikos. In bodily form. You understand what I'm saying? I hope I put the omega right, Okay, I haven't seen it in a while. I think somebody said somatikos, but that's wrong. So, I hope I put it right. Somatikos, I think it is. Right? But we're going to study it, so we're going to see that. This is not the fullness of the Holy Spirit. No, this is not that. No. It's that all the deity dwells in him in bodily form. So you have a body, you have a tent, you have a temple. You understand what I'm saying? God resides in that body in full measure. It pleased of the Father that in him all fullness dwells. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning in that body. That was a good plan. I'm going to use that body. Okay, all right, for the purpose of redemption. You understand what I'm saying? I'm pleased with that plan. And I'm pleased that, that we're in him. That's just a deal. We saw, different constructions for the aorist tense and subjunctive. We saw, in a subjunctive morpheme, omega there in Genesis 1:26, exhortation there. Also, I mentioned briefly Mark chapter 9, verse 5, poiesomen, and let us make tabernacles in Mark's gospel, and let us make man in the Genesis account. You understand what I'm saying? The omega, the subjunctive morpheme there in the two instances is the same construction. It's an aorist subjunctive, in the plural. You understand what I'm saying? So we saw that. We saw that the Greek word, poieo, was not used there for creation. A more stricter word that means creation was found and recorded there in verses 16 and 17 of Colossians chapter 1, and it's not found and recorded in the Praxis Apostolorum Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verse 36, like the witnesses like to use. You understand what I'm saying? See? We saw that Jesus was before all things, or created things. That's the qualification of those statements found and recorded, in Colossians chapter 1 and in John chapter 1, in particular in verse 3. We saw that protos mu was never said of the Father and Jesus by the lips of anyone. In particular, the lips of Jesus never mentioned and never recorded. Protos mu, that meaning for the Father was before me. Jesus never said that. John the Baptist said it of Jesus. And Jesus stamped that, that not only that he was before John the Baptist, but he was before, Abraham. Probably using in the Hebrew, ech, and that's why they wanted to throw stones at him. You understand what I'm saying? He probably said ech there, and not the Greek. And if he used the Greek, well, we use the Greek. But he didn't say, the Greek doesn't say ego eimi hoon, because they weren't, quoting, he wasn't quoting from the Greek Septuagint, like the apostles and him did, and Jesus did over 300 times. He probably used some form of echiac, and that's a very strong indication that he's Yahweh in human flesh. According to the 1817 and 1880 Hebrew New Testaments, Jesus did say in John chapter 8, verse 58, echiac, he used it for himself. His Angelo Quinones given glory to the God of Israel. God is not the God of the dead, nekron, omega and nu, but of the living. And that means that when Jesus said those was, that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those was. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up. And please leave a comment on the screen. Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. This is the final study of Colossians chapter 1, verses 15 through 18 for now. Blessings. And that's not me riding off to the sunset. You understand what I'm saying? That's somebody else. Okay. Take care, guys. Bye-bye now. Bye.